Flame Dragon. Fuckface. First, take a big step back and literally fuck your own.
Damn!
Now, I don't know what kind of
No, it's correct. I have it. I have it.
Asia Jack is my territory. So whatever you're thinking, you better think again. Otherwise, I'm gonna have.
I had it unseen.
And I will rain down on a godly fucking firestorm upon you. You're gonna have to call the fucking United Nations and get a fucking binding resolution to keep me from fucking destroying you. I am talking scorched earth, motherfucker. I will massacre you.
Damn, they're so eager to jump into things. My goodness. I have no point. Alright, welcome in everyone. This is week number 5 of Royalty Series. So far, Spartan Demons are undefeated. Playing against SBC Spaceballs. Demons in blue, Spaceballs in orange, and Sleepy. A tactical fake works so well. You love to see that. Meanwhile, you're looking up in the air, seeing what happens. Got 2 in the air. And you have a player waiting down below ready to shoot. So, perfectly executed by the Spartan Demons to start things off.
This is chalked.
And almost a pinch into the net. And also, if you're new to the stream, this is chalked. As Little Day scores the second one. And they're coming out hot and firing. But, yeah, if you're new to the stream, this is chalked. It's our custom crossbar sound, which is also featuring one of the players you see here today, Emerson, which we actually have the player cams again. So big shout out to Spartan Demons for providing those player cams you see on the side. But yeah, so far, good start, solid start.
This is chalk.
Very aggressive from Spartan Demons. But the question is, do SBC Spaceballs, do they ride this wave, adapt, endure, and settle into things? Certainly they're on their back foot now. And sometimes that happens. You just get into a game, you're not sure how your opponent's gonna start. But as time goes on, you learn, you figure it out. And it is a best of 5, so plenty of Rocket League to be played. Just gotta make sure we're all good here, but yeah, looks good. Everything's working. And high up, King gets the touch, wants another, but Sleepy cuts that one off. And Emerson has some space, but can't get that one controlled. And Emerson gives a little space, but SBC not there to challenge immediately. High ball. Sleepy by 1. By 2, a miscue. And Little Day gonna scoop that up, secure. And puts Spartan Demons up by 3. Also, we have to, of course, mention Sleepy player POV, as well as he's streaming on Twitch, so that is plugged into the title if you want to go see that side of things, of course. But he might do something there. Can't get the double. And Emerson denied on the continuing pressure. But what a chip! And I gotta say, Little Day is performing for Nitrous out here. He is swinging and hot. Got 4 goals in game number 1. But Little Day almost sneaks one there, right behind Sleepy. But this could be an opportunity for SBC to get on the board. They have been shut out this far. And 2 minutes left in game number 1. Trying to apply the pressure, but they can't get a solid offensive strike coming through. And meanwhile, Sleepy just following the path, has one lined up. Little Day, performance enhancing. Oh no, we don't need those kind of rumors out here. But chip shot going to the other corner and back and forth. And Sleepy trying to get a nice touch going forward. Play slowing down a little bit here. Dingle trying to feed Jokin, but good cutout from Sleepy. Not letting that fester. And Little Day, given some time, can hit it mid. I like the idea, but execution didn't follow through. And the positioning wasn't there. But Little Day trying to move it forward. And so far, you see, Spartan Demons, they have a player downfield. It definitely shakes things up because you got 2 players to read. Is one faking? Is the other? And that certainly can attest to that 5-0 lead right now. But King wants to make a play, but solid challenge preventing any play from moving forward. And Emerson has the tight angle just around the last defender. And up by 6. And I don't want to jinx it, but Spartan Demons, ever since they've been playing with player cams, I think things have ramped up. They've been playing out of their minds. Because first time we did it last week, they had a solid performance. That was our first time using the player cams. So maybe it puts a little more pressure on them to perform. And they seem up to the task. But it is only game number 1. And anything could happen. As game 1, SBC Spaceballs could certainly brush that one off. And you never know, if you get a lead, teams play differently, down or up. So we are going to game number 2, Forbidden Temple. Welcome to State Farm Insurance, dude. That's my dream. One day we'll have an actual sponsor. We'll have an actual sponsor shout out. That would be beautiful. What better time than on the stream? But game number 2 is here. Spartan Demons up by 1 in the series, and Little Day gonna continue on. Has that low 50, just too powerful. And awkward kickoff. Definitely hurts SBC on that one too. Taken out off the get-go. Third left in a rough spot. And now Spartan Demons can continue as there's an opening. Jokin on the board. And Spartan Demons a little bit awkward. I say both players faked each other. And it almost bought some time. But SBC, they were ready and waiting. And might have another. And that might be a curse of a corner for Spartan Demons. been taking steroids at home, says Nitrous about Lil Day. It's confirmed. It's definitely chalk now. But Lil Day off to the side, joking, trying to get it away. But a good demo, but Hubert is there back on defense. But plenty of time and space. That one's low. And SBC Spaceballs is just trying to ride out this pressure. And can kind of create some of their own. But Emerson downfield. And that's pretty big too. They have a player downfield. Does leave you to a counterattack if you're not careful. But also continues the pressure. And what is up, Luke? How you been? Welcome in.
This is strong.
And that's a ricochet, and Little Day is continuing to be the shooter that Spartan Demons need. And Harm says, game number 2 sponsored by McDonald's and Burger King. Have it our way and you'll be loving it. I like that one. But almost a play from SBC King, as Spaceball is keen to tie it up every chance they get. Almost has the makings of how this game would go. But joking, high pop, Little Day is there with no boost. Sleepy just trying to stay behind this one. Can't. And there's an opening. SBC can do some damage if they take out the last man, but maybe jump the gun too much as Demons were panicking. And 3 minutes left to go in the game. And challenge on the corner. Little back and forth play. Things getting chippy. And sometimes you need that when goals are hard to come by. This has been a different story than game 1, which was all Spartan Demons. SBC woke up a little bit here, but they are down by 1 as we reach halftime. And Huber, a good closeout. Emerson has to race back, but
this is chalked.
A little bit delayed on the
This is chalked.
challenge. And this is chalked, hitting the crossbar twice. But there's definitely some signs, some openings on the Spartan Demons defense. But good cutoff.
This is chalked.
Breaking Emerson off. He wanted that double. Could be a counter if Hubert could put it into the net quick enough. Joking. Denied by Sleepy. And what monumental effort on defense from Spartan Demons. While SBC are providing some great pressure. But just can't break through to tie this one up. And there's some chances there if they could just put it together. SBC King all the way downfield. Little Day and it to the other side, who's Sleepy somehow catches up to it. But they have the numbers, and that's just wide. They had a lead blocker hoping that would go in. It was not. And Jokin dropped down, and that's the trouble for SBC. They can't have that follow through in a good spot. It seems like when they go to follow through off the first miss, no one's there ready to line up a shot. But there it is. Jokin finally ends the suffering, and give credit to SBC Spaceballs. They were providing pressure for quite some time, finally break through, and we are tied up 2 apiece. And certainly, if they win this one, they're back in the series. They had a rough go of game 1, but like we said, anything can happen. And you get a win, things certainly change. Meanwhile, Spartan Demons take this one. They're on series point and looking good to continue their undefeated streak. But King has an extra. Little Day patient. And Nitro says, Little Day just taking a breather to not make it a sweep. How kind of him. Or maybe his drugs ran out, but what a play. Hubert Dingle reading that one right. King continues on. No one on backboard. Hubert there, and that is a clutch goal and a crusher for Spartan Demons, as we look like we're going to be tied up 1 apiece. So SBC Spaceballs show up in a big way on game number 2.
This is chalked.
Alright, DFH Stadium for game number 3. Now both teams have a win. Well, it's game 3. Even bigger to break through onto match point, series point, whatever you want to call it. And starting off, Little Day, an extra touch to make things awkward. Hits the crossbar as Emerson can't read that. Going forward. But a big bump from Sleepy Emerson, quick on the draw. And you can see that bump come through. Emerson had the green light, rushing to get that goal through. And Spartan Demons do strike first again. But will there be a counter from SBC to equalize? Seems like Demons want to apply that aggressive nature, get some bumps in. It certainly can help open up that defense. Little Day gonna pop it high. Hubert, good read. Heading back. Emerson can't get it, but has a teammate in tow. Little Day by 1. High bounce, but King all over it. Now, Sleepy in a tough spot. Emerson just trying to keep it away. Little Day going high. 50s against 2, but they're still on that one. And Sleepy has to be careful not to give that one up. Almost gave up possession right to SBC, who are hunting for that tying goal. But joking off the wall. Emerson could cut through for 1 touch. But you're able to zero in on these small touches. Who's gaining possession? What's going to come out? And Little Day, all he has to do is drive forward. A little bit awkward defense for SBC. Emerson also causing some problems into the net. And up by 2 Spartan Demons. Joking. Gonna 50 downfield. Emerson gonna have to secure this. Able to stay with it. But Hubert gets a touch. More touches back and forth like ping pong. And that one continues going on. And what in the heck did we just see? Can these players get a handle on this one? Little Day, a nice touch. Midfield. Sleepy too strong. Can't follow through on the double. And Spartan Demons a little aggressive in the nature and joking. What a 50 going in. But Demons got a little overzealous on that offensive possession. And there's the counter. Well executed by SBC Spaceballs. Halftime is here. Down by 1. And they are still in this one. But some miscues from Spartan Demons showing that they're human. Little Day, high ball, trying to get it to the midfield. King cuts that one off. And that's a big 50 in the midfield, but Jokin can't put it through. And a lot of team bumping as well from Spartan Demons. As SBC trying to tie it. They have a chance. That one's wide. But another extra touch from Lil Day to secure that save. And there's a miscue. Jokin ties it up. And a lot of space being given. And SBC, they'll happily take it. Got a player midfield in front of the net. We are tied 2 apiece. Tied 1 apiece on the series. And it could go either way, but it's going forward. Another similar 50. SBC King just staying with it. And that is what SBC is doing better. They're able to stay with the ball. And that results in another goal. And Little Day deleted. King feeling it. Wants another. Jokin is right in tow. Emerson by 1. Trying to do some damage. In front of net. Wisely bumps. And Sleepy completes the play. And that was beautifully executed. Smart for Emerson to know. Last back. He just has to take him out. Sleepy right there. Ready to shoot as that play unfolds. And we are tied 3 apiece. But into the midfield. King has to wait. But pressure continuing from Sleepy. And a touch going wide. Jokin gonna give that one up. Sleepy can turn. And 50 seconds left. Will there be some more magic from SBC coming in late? Or will Demons take the lead in the series? King and Dangerous has the whole team coming after Little Day. But somehow survives. And 25 seconds left. Will there be a counter? King drops it mid. And Emerson trying to apply the pressure. And Sleepy gets a touch. I don't know if that was going in, but it definitely isn't now. Sleepy wants that boost. Challenges. Hubert can still get a touch. And Little Day almost in a rough spot. There was almost an opening for SBC. But there's still a chance. And that one is still going. Emerson, a slight touch in front of net. 50 out. Jokin keeping it alive. But OT is here. And a huge moment. Does this end on a kickoff goal? Hubert. Good closeout. Just gets enough over the defender. But in front of net. No one there. But no one there for Demons as well. Emerson. Nice catch by 1. Has a player challenging. Sleepy in an awkward spot. 50 going in. And Little Day not panicking. Staying behind the ball. But midfield somewhat controlled by SBC. And 2 players in a rough spot. That's almost pinched in. And right now, the positioning in favor of Spaceballs. They're trying to capitalize on a mistake. Emerson, 50'd out. Hubert providing the pressure, but a nice touch from Lil Day. Wisely staying behind it and keeping it corner. King beats 2 out. Hubert can finish this. And the double commit. Costly. Hubert, Dingle, able to provide the magic yet again. Providing the clutch. SBC Spaceballs take that one. And Spaceballs, they're playing together within each other.
This is
good positioning and capitalizing off the mistakes. I had to think where we're going. Utopia Coliseum. That's where we're going.
This is chalked.
But SBC Spaceballs, they're up in the series. Series point, 1 game away from taking it. Spartan Demons, they are down and backs against the wall. Can't afford any mistakes, and what a save from Sleepy. As SBC coming out hot and dangerous. And a pinch going the other side. Jokin not ready for that. But a great touch regardless. And that's a big 50 going the other way. And 50's going well for SBC. And Sleepy beaten out. And Little Day trying some magic. But Jokin just putting the shot on. And SBC up by 1. And a great spot to be in. SBC continuing that momentum that they're riding. They gave up game 1, but since then won some close battles in game 2 and 3. And now find themselves with the first lead to start a game. New territory for them. And King almost has that one lined up, and the passing is flowing.
This is chalked.
And King is right there. And yet again, touch given up. King right there. No one on back. And they are up by 2. But Sleepy down to Little Day, who gets a touchdown. And Jokin up, trying to beat. But Demons, they want one on the board, trying to cut this bleeding in front of the midfield. But that's a good demo, cutting off that third man of Demons. Jokin surviving. Into the corner, popped high. King beating out. And Jokin continuing. And they got a comfortable 2-goal lead. Meanwhile, Demons, they got a rough hill to climb. But certainly, they can be momentum-based. If they just put some points on the board, it might just give them the confidence and momentum to tie this one up. And certainly, we're looking on to see if there's a game into Champs Field, and Little Day has been the scorer of the series. And what a goal to cut that lead by 1 as we get closer to halftime. And a big goal for Demons. But Sleepy given some time and space. Trying a 50 down. But Hubert, what a 50 there. And this is rough. No one there. But SBC can't capitalize on the opening. But Emerson, a slight touch. Wants to get the bump. Little Day. He's given some time to converge. Sleepy all over that one. And Sleepy and Emerson tripping up over each other a little bit here of late. But Sleepy does get that one through. And surprisingly, on that play, Little Day took possession, but no one challenged him. And that's why it resulted in a goal. And tied 2 apiece. Hubert has the flick, but touch from Spartan Demons. Sleepy trying to keep it going. Emerson going for some craziness. Little Day. Good closeout from Emerson. And we're still tied 2 apiece. A nice pass to Hubert, but he kind of gave it up, but makes up for it following through. And Emerson That one's not going to go past Hubert. But everyone meeting in this corner. But King, he's had some good closeouts. And they're waiting to continue on. And drop down! Is that through? Just a touch out. So close for SBC Spaceballs to take that lead. But you can't say they won't keep trying. They are dangerous within the last minute. They're applying the pressure. That's almost a chance. Little Day would not have been able to get there, but Demo's coming through. Emerson can't get there. And what pressure from SBC. And that big Demo. Great touch. And Jokin finishes it off. And that's a well-executed play from Spaceballs. And Hubert continuing on. Sleepy can't get that one. Hitting the crossbar. But that good spacing from SBC. And wants a touch there, but that's not going to fly. And 16 seconds left. Sleepy trying to get a bump. But Hubert continuing on. Trying to stay behind it. Absorbs the 50. And tactical fakes. King gets a touch. And SBC. Spaceballs take this series. Congrats to them on the victory. They played very well. Adapting after that game 1 loss. But they earned that victory. And credit to them. And it's all because Harm voted for them. But would like to thank everyone for tuning into this one. No matter what side you rooted for, would like to thank both teams showing up, putting on a performance. Special thanks to Spartan Demons for giving us access to the player cams. I know that's a tough loss for them, but season's far from over. Certainly things they could look upon and improve. And yeah, thanks SBC Spaceballs for the appreciation. Big shout out to them. But yeah, just a little cast. We got home like 10 minutes before this, so we're probably going to call it there. I don't know if we'll be back on later tonight, but got to get my bearings. So once again, thanks to everyone for tuning in to this one. Appreciate you.